So by this point, I have hopefully already made and released a video regarding why pride parades, what they have become anyway, are terrible displays that cause far more harm than good. In that video, I covered the sexually charged nature of the parades, the inappropriate things shown to and involving minors, the way they involve negative stereotypes that people have tried to break for years, and far, far more. Check it out if you're interested. But the parades are not the root of the problem. The community itself is. And I use that word rather loosely, and there's a lot of reasons why. I brought some of those reasons up within that video, distracting from the point, just to point out some of the awful things being done by them, since at the time I didn't think I was going to be making a video such as this one. I put extra emphasis on old creators such as Keffels, and one of the ones that took that place, such as Finster. Keffels was involved with a user named Chloe, who openly admitted to pink pilling numerous minors, HRT, as well as had ways of making homemade and arguably far more dangerous versions as well. Keffels was also involved in weird communications with minors, as well as having a Discord that was shady at best, and shady associations such as the friendship with Chloe that I brought up earlier. I'll link Mutahar's video in the description if you want to find out more. Finster, on the other hand, started out as just a cross-dressing streamer that got laughs from people by posing as a believable girl and then using his deep voice to surprise them on websites such as Omegle, as well as from playing games dressed as a girl, which wasn't as popular at the time. It started out as a funny thing to do, as he declined all involvement with being a part of the LGBT+ community, but recently that has all changed. He has since came out, and it's safe to make the assumption that after hanging out with actual trans people for so long, it has pushed him to becoming such himself. It would support the social contagion theory, especially with his denial of transitioning that he had for such a long time, and now here he is doing the same to children, a large part of the audience that he has amassed.
Could you imagine if Finster is your fucking estrogen provider? I'm working on that. I've wanted to set something up that was similar to GenderGP, but a non-profit, something that doesn't take any money out. Now, this is something I really want to get involved with. I think I've found some good people to do it with, and we're actually beginning trials really soon. I'm not going to be able to say what it is for a while, but what I can say is there's an email in the description because we're looking for any EU or UK medical doctors who want to be involved in trans healthcare. If you are in the EU or the UK and you are an MD able to prescribe medication to people, send me through an email and I'll forward it to the right people. It was made at 2:58 PM and laid before Parliament at 4, and it was passed. And so now this becomes a real thing that's actually happening. This isn't just like a bill in America where like, oh, maybe it's gonna get voted. No, this is a real thing that is happening on the 3rd of June. What this dictates is that now it's officially gonna be completely illegal for under 18s to have access to gender affirming care. Ban. So, it specifically states in this that even if you're on a private, the NHS won't do it, that was already a thing, but now you can't even have it on a private prescription. This is in the exceptions paragraph, so like, you can still get these drugs, but only if you're not transgender. So anyway, a bunch of kids are gonna die, which is really fun. I don't think anyone really knows what to do about that. And quite frankly, everyone in the group chat for the charity is freaking out because a lot of the people that run these have trans kids.
Now I want to make something clear. Although his actions are something obviously not good, I don't believe his intentions are actively malicious. I believe Finn truly believes that what he's doing is right, that by supporting pink pilling he's saving a child's life. He was convinced he was trans, so it's only natural that he would feel he could do the same for others as well. He doesn't have a problem with it since it's normal to him. A lot of members of the community fall into this category. They believe they are heroes saving LGBT+ kids from hateful bigots causing their deaths. They believe that something like not wanting trans girls in women's sports is going to cause the deaths of said girls. Everything gets pushed to an extreme example, which is a manipulative tactic to guilt you into agreeing, because if you don't, then X person died and their blood is on your hands. The biggest reason why I struggle to believe these people genuinely care about others is because when you bring up the terrible experience that detransitioners have had, and the fact that people have felt far worse after transitioning, since it turns out that that wasn't the problem to begin with, you are immediately called a bigot, and none of what you say is brought into consideration, not even for a moment. If they truly cared like the heroes they pretend to be, then every life would matter, not just the ones that push what they believe. If they truly cared about saving lives, then they wouldn't pick and choose which lives are worth saving. They would care about the ones affected by their actions and make a change to try and ensure that they hurt as little people as possible, but they don't. Why is that? It's because of something else I briefly touched on in that other video. They want to expand their community first and foremost, but the main way they want to do that is by using your kids as a catalyst. What I mean is, well,
it's not a choice. We are not asking you. We are telling you we will turn your kid gay.
Not at all secret gay agenda.
Pink pilling minors is based, actually, if they reach out and express a desire for HRT. I have unironically pink pilled like half a dozen minors, and by pink pill, I mean point them to HRT resources after they reach out.
So yeah, after seeing that you most likely feel kind of disgusted, right? But what if I told you that what you saw there was only a high profile situation and that you never would have knew about it if it didn't involve an infamous creator involved in numerous controversies such as Kevils? If Kevils was not such a high profile figure, lying about important situations and always vying for the public eye, then Chloe would have continued to sneak your kids quote unquote medicine behind your back, convincing your kids they are trans and then profiting off of them for her own benefit. So the question then needs to be raised: how many other Chloes are in this world? Finster is an example, but to what lengths will he go? Will others go further? Are they doing so already? These kinds of actions are not only justified but supported by a wide range of people within the community, and if we keep failing to acknowledge the dangers for what they are, then they only have the potential of getting far, far worse. Another thing the community has tried to do that affects your children is normalize the terminology of MAPS, minor attracted persons, which is trying to be a kind way of addressing pedophilia, which should not be addressed kindly at all. Anything involving the endangerment of kids should be demonized, not normalized, and it's disgusting the amount of groups and the amount of said people within those groups that advocate for the people that endanger them the most. Now I do want to say that I do believe people, even ones as heinous as this, have the capacity to change and in turn do good, but I'm not going to normalize their bad because of that. That's freaking silly. The key part of what I said was change. Never do that action again, be disgusted by those thoughts, legitimately be a totally different person. I still wouldn't fully trust them around kids, but I would be willing to forgive even if I wouldn't forget. That's as close as I can get to being respectful towards those kinds of people, by offering the same grace I believe should be offered to everyone, as long as they are willing to change. Normalizing their depravity though, allowing them to remain the way that they are, that I cannot do. Redemption, no exceptions. Repentance, not acceptance. Admit your sins, grow from them, away from them, condemning them, or let them swallow you whole. The choice is yours. Another thing about the community that rubs me the wrong way is the fact that they seem to want to remain a victim. They want to continue to seem oppressed, continue to make waves and be in the public limelight, continue to make a spectacle wherever they go. Instead of vying for normalization, they instead are treating everything as some power move, as if them not being straight somehow makes them better than those that are. As people who don't associate themselves with the community have come to find, is that they can be gay and still be a normal person. They can date who they want and continue to get along with everyone else, because they don't make their sexuality their entire personality, and by living like a normal person, they normalize whatever their sexuality is as well, which is ironically all it would take. So what does the community gain by making their sexuality the crowning achievement of their life? Well, they get over-sexualized and indecent parades, which isn't normal. An entire month to celebrate them, which isn't normal. They get to be in every show, some to an unrealistic degree, like in the House of Usher, straight characters get changed to align with them, media has literal requirements to have them within it, they can dress and drag to read to your kids, they can teach teach your kids not to conform to their gender, even if said kids never considered such a thing before that point. They can put pride parades in your preschool shows and do it all with praise from the vast majority of the public. And yes, I do realize the irony of the situation, given the fact that they literally will scream about being a part of an oppressed minority, which obviously they are not. Hot take, I know. Their actions and attitudes regarding these things are so annoying that they would actively repel the people that they would want to be a part of their community. I shared this comment in my Pride Parade video, but I want to share it again as it perfectly encapsulates many feelings on the matter. It says, "Brother, I hate to say it, but that's literally the community. I don't even tell people I'm bi because the LGBT community have ruined it for everyone. Forced month, forced inclusivity, making straight characters gay for God knows why. I would rather everyone in my life think I'm straight until I die than ever come out. And not because I don't want people to know, but because I'm so disgusted with the LGBT community and I never ever want to be associated with them ever. Also, screw Pride Month. That is trash. It's just an excuse for companies to make bank off a bunch of gay idiots. If the community was truly as inclusive as it markets itself to be, then they would care about the fact that their core member base doesn't even want to be a part of it, in a misguided attempt to appeal to everyone, including people like Maps, who should have no part in a community that creepily and openly welcomes kids. They alienate people who are uncomfortable with their inclusion. As they try to spread to all media ever, it stops feeling necessary and starts to feel forced. They are usually shoehorned in at the cost of other characters' previous characterization, or even the plot itself. Then we get terrible and unlikable characters like Eric from Sex Education, or character shifts that make no logical sense, like making Buck gay on 911. People that can see the pandering are embarrassed by it, and people that support all representation as good representation are causing far more harm than good. Why though? What makes this pandering representation a step in the wrong direction? The fact that it is oversaturating shows, including in ways that don't feel natural, and are turning off people that are tired of seeing it. I tried to watch House of Usher and truly believed it had an intriguing story, but when 5 or so characters were introduced as gay within mere seconds of one another, it definitely turned me off, because it's not natural. It's not normal, especially for people who claim themselves to be a minority. It felt like too much, and it made it noticeable, and in turn did the opposite of normalization. The fact that the LGBT+ community can't see the harm that will do is wild to me. There are examples of how to do it right. Vampire in the Garden has a lesbian lead. Castlevania the animation has a lesbian couple. MLP even has lesbian ponies. But what all these shows do is present it as normal in some regard. With the vampire animation shows I brought up, the characters are built up as characters first, and they exist beyond what their sexuality is. In MLP, they never outright state what their sexuality is, just imply it instead, because normal people don't state that kind of stuff, so doing so goes against normalizing it. It's an easy thing to grasp. If you want a gay character in fiction, then sure, that's fine. It's a show for someone, I'm sure, but it has to be treated as if that person is just another person, not someone inherently special or different because of their sexuality. They also need to be added less frequently. Having them oversaturate media just turns people off from seeing them in general, even in movies and shows where the characters are good, which is the problem movies with female leads have developed as well, due to absolute dumpster fires that have come out with them, causing actually decent movies like Furiosa to bomb as a result. People get tired of being burned, and when there's a common denominator, they will, even if subconsciously, be influenced by that, such as I have become, causing me to turn off an interesting show due to the center stage inclusivity within it. Again, House of Usher. The normalization of gender identity disorder has a similar effect. Instead of treating it like a mental disorder, which it is, it's instead being treated as an absolute truth, which is not how truths work at all, but that's a subject for another video. Due to people with gender dysphoria or confusion being told that maybe they are trans, we have tons of people, tons of kids, transitioning without truly grasping the weight made of that decision. Transitioning isn't an easy fix for gender dysphoria, and treating it like it is should be considered a form of malpractice. Thankfully, we've had many detransitioners step up and speak out, try to save others from making the same mistake that they made, and some like Chloe Cole doing that same thing, especially for your kids. She spoke out against the harms of transitioning, harms that the community tries to cover up. Detransitioners are also ostracized by said community, so again, their inclusivity has its limits if you don't fall in line with everything they say. Be a good soldier of the LGBT community, and a good soldier follows orders. I've watched just about every interview given by Chloe Cole. I've watched her sit in court and advocate for the safety of children, and I've watched her dedicate time to calling out the dangers of the world around us that most people would never take into consideration. She's using her platform to try and make a difference, to try and save your sons and daughters from the same fate that she suffered herself, and I have all the respect in the world for her, especially since she's around the same age as me. Go check her out if you're interested. Her story is heartbreaking, but it sheds a lot of light on the reality that most of us don't see. Although I could probably find other things to complain about, I think I made my point here, as well as in my Pride Parade video. Will I make more videos on the community and its misdeeds? Only if I decide there's a difference that could be made by doing so. To the community though, I give you some advice. Work for normalization instead of for praise. See your sexuality as a normality instead of an achievement. I may never agree with it and see it as a sin, but I won't take away your right to date whoever you want to or pretend to be whoever you want to be. Just keep it to yourself like everyone else. Don't make a spectacle out of your sexuality, and instead allow people to know you as a person instead of a label. Stop trying to stick your hand in every show and movie that exists, and most importantly, leave the kids alone. If you want to join a community with people that aren't causing more harm than good and are okay with not everyone agreeing with you as long as they respect you, then join my Discord. I'll put the link in the description if you're interested. It's actually in the description of every video anyway, so yeah. That's all I have to say. Subscribe if you want to see more, comment if you have any video ideas, and most importantly, have a great day. Thank you.